Welcome learners. I am Dr. Imtiaz Huda, Assistant Professor, Department of Islamic Studies, Aligarh Muslim University. Now let's have a glance over what we learn from the biography, the political thought, the activities, and the works of Sayyid Jamaluddin Afghani. First of all, we learned that he was born in 1838 in Asadabad, a province which lies in the Afghan-Iran border, and as well as the title he had assumed, the Afghani, just to show that his origin or from where he belonged, because he was born in Afghan-Iran, near the Afghan-Iran border. It was basically in the Afghanistan. Further, learners, we found that he himself has traced his ancestry from the Imam Hussein, who was the grandson of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Another important aspect we learned from this lecture that he had collaborated with a modernist thinker, an Egyptian one, Muhammad Abdu, to whom he met in Paris. And we learned that he, along with Muhammad Abdu, had started a revolutionary journal, we can say an Islamic revolutionary journal, Al-Urwatul Wasaqa, the unbreakable bond. And we also learned from this one that it was a mouthpiece of the thought of Jamaluddin Afghani. In total, 18 editions were produced before its closure. And in all of the 18 editions, Sayyid Jamaluddin Afghani had talked about his notions regarding the unification of the Muslim community, stressing on the unity, stressing on the Islamic Brotherhood, and he advocated for the pan-Islamism through his work Al-Urwatul Wusaqa. Dear learners, we also learned that Sayyid Jamaluddin Afghani has authored a philosophical work, Al-Rad ala al-Tahrin, the refutation of the materialist. It was purely based on his philosophical thought and ideologies, which later had also depicted through his movement, the pan-Islamic movement, that what he had observed and how philosophically he had produced his work. The very important aspect that Sayyid Jamaluddin Afghani has covered in his remarkable work, Al-Rad ala al-Tahrin, that he had refuted the theories of Democritus and as well as of Charles Darwin. Because these two personalities were of the materialistic approach, and they had denied the existence of the God. They had developed their own theories, and they outrightly reject that God exists, either directly or indirectly, in any form. They say there is no God, and everything has been evolved from it itself, from a nucleus. So there is no God who is controlling the all thing. He had also refuted the theory of evolution that was propounded by Charles Darwin. What Darwin said, that while discussing about the development of the human, he had expressed the modern human developed from the monkeys. The monkeys are the ancestors of the humans. It was his theory of evolution. So that Sayyid Jamaluddin Afghani has outrightly rejected, refuted. Especially, we can say that his theory was about the fundamental aspect of creation of life, how the life has created. And he considered that it is unequivocal ascribed to God, because it is the God who is the creator of the life. And Darwin is outrightly negating the God, about the existence of the God. Dear learners, we also learned that he has authored a theophilosophical work, Al-Qada wal-Qadar, in which he had dealt with the life after this life. It means he was talking regarding what has been destined for us after living the life in this world, and he is talking about the hereafter life, the life after this life, and how we can perfect ourselves for the life after this life. And he also debated that in this we should be ready, we should be prepared with our deeds and action for the life after this life, because that one is the final destination of the humankind, as has been promised by Allah Almighty in the Holy Quran. Dear learners, Sayyid Jamaluddin Afghani had considered that religion has taught humanity three fundamental beliefs. We learned that Sayyid Jamaluddin Afghani considered that religion has taught three fundamental beliefs to the humanity that can be, or that are, of the spiritual nature. That we can have a spiritual life, the nature of our life, or the religion, or the perception of the humanity to live a spiritual nature. Then he considered that every religious community in its own superiority over the other. Every religious community has a superiority over the other, because in the humanity we found the development of various religions, and every religion is debating for its superiority on the other. So this has taught us the fundamental, the concept of humanity. And further, he had also observed that our existence in this world is just a prelude to the higher life in the world entirely free from sorrow and suffering. It means he's talking that this humanity had to prepare for the higher life of that world where we will be free from each and everything of this world, free from sorrow, free from suffering. Further, learners, we learned that Sayyid Jamaluddin Afghani emphasized the importance of unity among the Muslim nations. He stressed that a gap should be bridged up. The differences, the regional differences should be ended. And a bond, a unity has to be created. And it is only the Islam through which a unity can be created. Sayyid Jamaluddin Afghani had also argued that collaborations and solidarity is essential for overcoming colonial challenges and achieving independence. Because if we will collaborate and be with solidarity with the others, then the colonial powers can't keep an eye on us. They are just getting benefit from our internal differences. So he advocated to just in the ending of the disputes of all kind among the Muslim nations. Then they can defend each other. And if somehow any of the Western power or colonial power had put it stronghold, then through solidarity and collaboration, they can found the independence. They can achieve their independence. Further learners, we learn from this lecture that he believed that education is a powerful tool for society and political reform, for the reform of the society and for the political reform. Because education can develop a sensibility, can develop understanding, can also make us to verify the thing, what can be beneficial and what can't be. So even for the religious life, education is also important, because without knowledge we can't understand the faith. So we should try for the or to achieve the education. And for the reform in the society, the implementation of the education policies can develop the nation. The educated people are the humble people. They can understand the thing very easily and even can settle the social issues and problems also, because they know how to deal with that. It is the knowledge that has developed their sensibility. And a learned person, an educated person can also bring a political reform. As he himself, he was a well educated person. So wherever he had gone, He advocated for the political reform, against the tyranny, against the oppression, especially in the case of the Arabi in movement, against the Arabi Pasha, who was the ruler of the Egypt, a Khedivite ruler. So, so he was of the opinion it is the education that can draw the masses for the political reform in the society. Dear learners, we had also learned that Sayyid Jamaluddin Afghani advocated for the modernized education system, not only the traditional, also the modernized one. And he was of the opinion that this modernized education should be a club of religious and secular knowledge so that it can empower the individuals. And simultaneously, we understood that Sayyid Jamaluddin Afghani stressed upon the significance of critical thinking and the religious discourses. That the critical thinking has an importance. We can draw more and more inferences if we will examine the thing concerning or observing the pros and cons also. And also the religious discourse, the rational discourse. When we will have a debate with the scholars, with the people, something new will come up, and that new can be a beneficial for the society, for the reform. This is an important aspect of the education, a modern education. It means that he was advocating for the researches in diverse fields, refining, researching through various aspects. We further learned that he encouraged the people to question the traditional beliefs and the practices. If someone is doing such some practice, we should question. After all, why we are performing these practices? What is its relevance? What is its importance? We should question. We should inquire. If someone is even offering a prayer, it can be questioned. After all, why this mode? Why this way? The traditional prayers. For example, many people traditionally visit the khanqahs. So it can be questioned. It was his opinion that after all, what is the purpose of visiting the khanqahs? So he had stress, encouraged that people should question. If anyone is blindly following anyone or is bound by taqleed, it should be questioned. Why? What is the reason behind it? That he is only following a particular trend or trend. So he had encouraged, boosted that in the education, this aspect has to be incorporated. Further, he had also stressed that if any sort of innovations has been issued or had been started, innovation, the bidat had been started, it should also be questioned. Somehow, some innovations are healthy and some are unhealthy. So it should be questioned also. What is the purpose of this innovation? How it will be fruitful for the benefit, fruitful or beneficial for the society? How it can benefit the society? Further, learners will also learn that Sayyid Jamaluddin Afghani was the strong proponent, an advocate, a speaker of the political activism. He believed everyone should be politically active, and he had urged the masses, the individual in the masses, that they should engage in the political process. And also, he had advocated for the rights of the individuals. We all are aware that he was somehow advocating a democracy. He was against the kingship form of government. He was talking about the democracy. What we learned earlier that he had advocated that all the Muslims should consider the Ottoman Sultan Abdul Hamid II as their Khalifa. Because they will bridge up the gap, and as he advocated the democracy, it means it is the involvement on each and every individual. Now, whatsoever will be the thing, the person can directly consult with the Khalifa, and the Khalifa is approachable. And as I have said, he advocated for the rights of the women, rights of the suppressed class, right of the masses, and many more. He advocated that every individual has the right and their rights should be ensured. This we learn from the lesson. Further, we learn that he believed that passive acceptance, simply accepting whatsoever is going on, we can accept. Whether it is oppression, if the oppression is being done, if any sort of tyranny is there, we should not accept. Because if we will passively accept such sort of thing, it means somehow we are supporting injustice. He advocated to raise voice against any sort of inequalities, any sort of tyranny, any sort of oppression. As we have mentioned, when he was in Iran, he instigated the people against the tobacco trade because the Britishers were getting maximum benefit from the Shah of Iran, Nasruddin Shah Qachar. So he advocated that all should not accept these things whatsoever. The government should not. We should raise our voice because we should not be part of the injustice. His movement led to the constitutional revolution in Iran also. The people got aware and it led to the constitutional revolution of Iran. Further, we learned that Sayyid Jamaluddin Afghani highlighted the role of intellect. He said that the intellectuals play an important role because the intellectuals just inseminate the ideas in the brains of the masses. And it is the intellectual who also carve a good society through their views, through their thoughts. Simultaneously, he said, scholars are also equally responsible for the shaping of the public opinion and as well as driving a change in the society, in the region. So he said that intellectual and scholars had a very important role, active role. They should write for the progress. They should debate. They should make a public speeches. Citing a simple example, the Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, a great reformer, he wrote extensively. He debated with the peoples. He made public speeches also. He traveled extensively. And it was his initiative that now we found that the society has almost understood. His speeches, his views, his thought, his writing has shaped the public opinion. And now importance is of education. We all should try to gain the modern education, the scientific education. It was Sayyid Jamaluddin Afghani who had a same opinion. And we find from the life of Sir Sayyid the same thing, what he had debated for, which Sayyid Jamaluddin Afghani debated for, we find the same quality in Sir Syed Ahmad Khan. That the intellectual scholar has an effect on the society. We also learn, the learners, that he had asserted that they had a responsibility, these scholars, intellectuals, to lead a way in promoting enlightenment and reform, bringing awareness in the society. And it is just because of awareness society will definitely reform. I cited the example of Sir Syed Ahmad Khan. Now, after Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, many scholars have also debated for that. And like Sir Syed, they had also laid foundations of many educational institutions. It shaped the opinion that it is a need of a time. And we should lead our life as per that trend, the modern trend, the current. Further, we learned that he recognized the impact of Western imperialism on the Muslim world. because the Western colonizers gradually captured larger part of the Muslim world and started governing the Muslim world as per their opinions, as per their viewpoints. Further, we learn that he called for the revival of the Islamic values. Which value? The concept of Tawheed, to avoid the shirk, not to indulge into the shirk, to be pious. Because he considered that the revival of the Islamic values, could counteract foreign influences, will not accept the westernization. They will consider the westernization is not healthy. It is somehow promoting immorality, immodesty in the society. So, the Islamic values should be revived to restore the dignity of the Muslims in the colonized nation or the colonized Muslim nation. That the Western power has implemented their thought. Citing a simplest example, we found after the downfall of the Shibanis in Central Asia, many Khanate emerged, but they all were somehow controlled by the Tsarist regime. And the Tsarist regime has enforced their culture, has enforced their custom, has enforced their language on the Muslim community of Central Asia. And even they had banned a Muslim for seeking the Islamic education also. So for this one, Sayyid Jamaluddin Afghani was advocating for the revival of the Islamic values against the Western colonizers who are making the Muslim immoral. The society was getting corrupted. So he had advocated it should be implemented, it should be revived. Learners, we also learned that he had argued for the necessity of the strong national identity. What we learned? He talked about the Arab nationalism, he talked about the Indian nationalism, he talked about the Turkish nationalism. It was because of his thought these has emerged. Despite these identities, they should get united. They should get united. First of all, we have to learn our own culture. The Arabs should learn their culture, their values, and about their faith. The Turks, they should learn about their culture, the values, and their faith. The Indians has also, and many more, wherever the Muslims were. He talked like that. So he had advocated for the strong national identity. We learned that he suggested that the shared sense of culture and history could unite the diverse group within a notion and strengthen their collective revolve or to resolve the collective issues. Now, he suggested that we all have some shared culture, very important, the Islamic culture, the shared one. The Muslims in Indonesia, Muslim in Africa, Muslim in India, Muslim in Australia, and Muslim in Turkey, all are sharing their culture, the Islamic culture, the Muslim culture, and as well as the Islamic history. And we should consider this thing as an important bond. And through this one, we can unite each other. So it was a notion from his pan Islamic thought that he suggested. He also advocated for the integration of modern sciences and technology into the Islamic societies, the Islamic country, Muslim countries, that they should lay foundation to the academic institution where the modern science should be taught. And we found Sir Syed Ahmad Khan like. Sir Syed Ahmad Khan was an advocate of this one. So yes, Jamaluddin Afghani was talking that it should be done. That our youngsters should know new researches, the new technological method, and that is very much instrumental in the development of the Muslim society. That they will not be considered outdated one. Western colonizers consider the Muslim as the outdated one, and they consider themselves as very modern. So he advocated that Muslims should once again, what they were in the past, once again they should become active in this one. Sayyid Jamaluddin Afghani also believed in embracing the advancement, whatsoever the advancement, either technological, either scientific, either political, either social. He said it should be accepted. It was his viewpoint. And he considered that this will help the Muslim world to compete on the global scale. Whatsoever the changing are coming, they should accept it. They should not outrightly, they should consider it, accept it, and try to work in accordance to it without losing our ethical values, moral values, the religious values. It will improve our living condition also. For example, now we use vehicles, modern vehicles, built up from the engines. Earlier, we were only at the chariots, but we adopted it. Now we are using it very well. Now, it is improving our living condition also. Earlier days, the distances were covered for in a long period of time. Now, in a very short time, large distance can be covered. The development in the aeronautics. So he said we should accept it. Also, it will ease out. It will also help us to improve our living conditions. Further, we learn that he thought on the social justice and emphasized the need for equality and fairness. that everyone should be given, given equality, and the thing should be very fair. Even in any case, injustice, equality should be provided. Learners, we further learn that Sayyid Jamaluddin Afghani believed that a just society is fundamental to achieving true freedom and prosperity for all individuals. He advocated for the just society based on the principle of Islam, uniting all the people across the border, across the creed, across the thought, that then they can achieve true freedom and prosperity. Dear learners, in last we can say that Sayyid Jamaluddin Afghani has inspired generation. He had inspired the later reformers and thinkers. For example, Muhammad Abduhu. For example, Rashid Rida. For example, Saad Zaghlul. And many more. He inspired. And even he inspired many people in Iran, in Turkey also. Because he had promoted a new idea, a balanced approach that respect tradition and embracing the progress. Thank you very much.